Today, and we are making Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving recipes. We're gonna make several different recipes. The first one is going to be stuffing stuffed in not the ass of a dead bird, but in some winter squash. It's gonna be so good. And we're also gonna make some pumpkin chocolate chip muffins along with pumpkin muffins stuffed with cream cheese frosting. There's a lot of things getting stuffed in this video. But luckily, no dead animals will be stuffed with anything, nor will any animal secretions go into anything getting stuffed. Basically, we are going to be making, cooking, baking a lot of things, so let's get started. To make all of these recipes flow together seamlessly with time, we are going to start off by making the pumpkin muffins. We have to preheat the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius, but it'll pop up right here on the screen. Now taking a can of pumpkin puree. This is just straight pumpkin. There's nothing else in it. I've seen other pumpkin purees with a bunch of other crap in it. Try to steer clear of that if you can. And it's basically just either a cup or a can. Usually the can is a little more than a cup, but I found that it works either way, which is surprising, especially for baking, because baking is very, very specific, but for some reason you can add a little more pumpkin than just a cup when it comes to this recipe. If you have any dogs, you can give them the extra pumpkin if you want to have an exact cup and you don't want to store the extra pumpkin puree. You can just give it to your dogs. It's super healthy for them. I don't know if this is gonna be enough for what I want to do because I want to do 2 muffin pans, which I usually just do 1. So yeah, the recipe that I'll link in the description box below with the exact measurements will be for like 1 pan of muffins, depending on how big the muffins that you're making are gonna be. But yeah, I don't know if I should double the recipe right now or maybe I should wait. I guess I'll just wait. I am almost out. I just went to the grocery store and I didn't get, I guess this is not gonna be enough coconut sugar for what I need, but we are now going to add 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. But if you don't have coconut sugar, that's perfectly fine. You can add regular sugar. Just make sure if it's white sugar that it is vegan and it wasn't processed with animal bones, because that is what typically happens with white cane sugar, even though it's not naturally like that. It's just kind of, I guess, them to cut down costs, to save money, to get the ROI higher. Shark Tank, where you at?
I am so out on this.
Since I don't have enough coconut sugar, I just decided that I am going to use regular raw cane sugar, 1/4 cup. Now another 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Our beloved maple syrup is so delicious. This is just the Whole Foods brand because honestly, it's the most affordable one that is actual maple syrup and not corn syrup with maple syrup flavoring. Don't want that. That's the scariest thing in the world. Stay away from her because we don't know her. You're gonna add 1/4 cup of applesauce. Now some room temperature unsweetened plant milk of your choice. We are adding 2 cups. So just 1/2 cup of unsweetened plant milk of your choice. Drink that water. This step is completely skippable. I usually don't do this, but for you guys, I'm doing it today. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just mix everything together until all of the liquids become 1 liquid, and then we are going to add in the solids and the spices. Grabbing some oat flour that I just make myself. I buy the oats in bulk to avoid any kind of plastic or packaging because that is something that I can 100% avoid. And I just blend the oats until they are a really fine powder flour type consistency. A cup and 3/4 cup, I think that's the proper way to say it, but we want a cup and then we want another almost cup of oat flour. Now we want to grab our oats that are just how they are, a cup and 1/4 cup of these. As for the spices, we want 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of clove, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Usually when I do make this recipe every single week, I don't add salt to it. It's not necessary, but for you guys, I will be adding half a teaspoon of salt. I was supposed to only add 1/4, but that's okay. This first batch is going to be with chocolate chips. So we're going to add about 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. You can add more, you can add less, whatever you want. Everything is nice and mixed up. I'm so excited about these. I got 2 muffin tins with Thanksgiving fall like muffin imprints, a big one and a small one. I found this one at TJ Maxx Home Goods, and I got this one on Amazon, and I'll link both of them in the description box below. And I'm excited. Oh yes, queen with the angles.
I think that she was going to France with him. Isn't that right, my dear?
Then you can inherit all of his land and devote all of your time to pleasing me.
So I realized that I forgot to add the baking powder and baking soda to the chocolate chip pumpkin muffin mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those out of the muffin pan and put them back in a clean bowl and add the baking powder and baking soda that I need. That's crazy. The muffins are all ready to go, so I am going to pop them in our preheated oven for 30 to 45 minutes, just keeping an eye on them. Oh my goodness. Now, in the meantime, we are going to make the stuffing and the winter squash. Large pot. Basically, we're gonna put everything in here. First in the pot, we are going to add lots of chopped onion. The 30-minute timer for the muffins just went off, and I stuck a toothpick in them and nothing was on the toothpick. Now I'm gonna set these aside and let them cool while I finish making the stuffing. The onions are all sauteed, so now we are going to work on the sausage. And of course, we are using sausage made from plants and not animal flesh. Because how can you give thanks and be thankful when you're taking the lives of innocent animals? I'm probably just gonna do 2 sausages for today and then keep these other 2 for maybe another batch of stuffing. Oh my god, that's probably my favorite. The texture of this is on point, and it's probably the most tasty vegan sausage that I've had thus far. I really like how it's not super oily and greasy. Let's cut the sausage into little crumbles so that it combines nicely in the stuffing. I'm just mixing in the sausage with the onions just to cook everything together a bit before I add some more ingredients. We can't have stuffing without celery. I chopped up a bunch of stalks of celery. Again, the recipe will be in the description box below with all of the measurements, the full breakdown. It'll be there down below. These ingredients are so pretty. So these are the next ingredients that we're going to add. We're going to add cranberries, mushrooms, green onions, and walnuts. Next in are the green onions. Now as for the walnuts, I kind of want to keep them in like these big, brainy type sizes that they already come in. I mean, if they're too large, then of course you can just break them in half. but I kind of want to leave them the size that they are. Clearly, I ended up with a lot of stuffing, but I think I'm gonna go with the Arrowhead Mills stuffing mix. Just make sure when you are stuffing shopping that you keep an eye out when you're reading the ingredients for eggs, because they tend to creep into a lot of stuffing mixes. Kind of creepy. Unfortunately, this is not gluten-free stuffing because, like I said, eggs tend to creep up into stuffing mixes, especially the gluten-free ones, which I guess because they feel like it doesn't stick, doesn't stay, it doesn't hold, I don't know. I'm gonna add the stuffing to the pot with everything else, and I'm just going to lightly fold it in so that it doesn't get crushed and all gooed up. Like, I want it to still have shape to it and not just be a blob. Like, I don't want the stuffing to turn into a blob. I want it to be as fluffy and textured as possible. Guys! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Though I do think it does need some more herbs, I'm going to add some rosemary, thyme, and some sage to the mix. Rosemary is essential for stuffing. It gives it that signature Thanksgiving turkey flavor. Even though the turkey does not taste like that, it's from plants. Tablespoon of sage. Before we work on the winter squash, we must taste test the stuffing. That is so perfect. Does not need to be stuffed in a turkey's butt. The texture in the stuffing is perfect. There's not too much moisture. It's not too dry. It's just the perfect consistency, and all the flavors just harmonize together so nicely. So now let's work on the winter squash. I'm probably just going to do one today because you just cut it in half and that's like 2 meals. So then later on I can add 2 other winter squashes and just have stuffing in the fridge for days. I swear nothing makes me happier than my squash and I guess pumpkin collection. It's so pretty. I just admire this every single day. I'm gonna go with the classic acorn squash. I just washed it because eating the skin is optional, and I highly recommend it because there's a ton of nutrients in the skin itself. So now I'm going to cut this in half, de-seed it, take out all the seeds, and compost the seeds, of course, and then I will take it from there. Finding that these are not balancing mostly, so I'm just gonna cut the bottoms like I just did. So now it balances. Woo! Look at those. I'm gonna cover these with foil so that they retain the moisture since the squash is raw and I want everything to bake together nicely. Now I'm going to put these in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how long they need cooking, because the squash is raw and the stuffing is cooked, but that's fine. Everything is supposed to go together like this and it's gonna be delicious. You can still bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 415 degrees Fahrenheit, just depending on the timing that you have, because it's not a baked good, so there's not much chemistry to it. Just experiment as you go. While the stuffing stuffed squash is in the oven, we are going to attempt to experiment with some cream cheese frosting. I've had cream cheese frosting that's vegan since going vegan, though I have not attempted making myself since going vegan. I've made it before I went vegan with baby cow growth formula cream cheese, but I haven't made it with vegan cream cheese yet. And today is that day. I'm gonna use the whole entire container of this, half a teaspoon of vanilla, I might need more, and half of 1/3 of a cup of sugar. That's not even half, that's like 1/3 of 1/3 of a cup. You can use it in a mixer like that KitchenAid mixer that Trisha Paytas has in her new kitchen. Who knows if she's ever going to use it.
I was like living like a monster like in the basement.
But I'm too lazy to bring out the mixer, so I'm just going to mix it by hand, taste as I go to hopefully get a really, really good cream cheese frosting. I'm not a fan of the sugar for this, so I might have to add some powdered sugar. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to do, because this stuff is not melting. The granules are still granules. Now we gotta get the powder. I will put together a proper cream cheese frosting recipe in the description box below so that you can follow along with that rather than my little experiment. Oh my god. That's it. That is it, sis. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is supposed to be a leaf. That's cute. I've never filled a cupcake or muffin before, so this is another experiment. Go in at the bottom. This is scary. Had a little bit of a mishap. I kind of went over. Like, I would do so bad at these little baking competitions because a volcano erupted. Next, we're gonna try to fill this little acorn and try not to break it, pop it, pop it, twist it. These are them. They definitely are not perfect, but I'm sure they're gonna be delicious. I definitely need to work on my, I guess, whatever it's called, piping, cupcake, muffin filling skills, because they're not the best. There are different little critters in this batch, in this tin, in this shapewear. Skims, where you at? Oh my goodness, this is shapewear for muffins. Let's try the turkey. And these pumpkin muffins, honey, they get better with age. They are so much better the next day. I mean, they're still really, really good fresh out of the oven, but there's something about them setting overnight that just, they smell so good. Big reveal. It looks like the squash is all cooked. Wow. Wow. I think I want a fork for this. It's hot. Oh, but it's so good. You know, even after the stuffing was cooking in the pot and then it was baking in the oven for an hour, it still retained all of that texture and fluffiness. Now for my second dessert, I want to slice into these cream cheese frosting filled pumpkin muffins and actually see if they're any good, because I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna do the ugliest one. Like this one, that just looks like a volcano. It kind of looks like funnel cake. That's what it looks like the shape, top of the pumpkin, but can't talk. This is like the MasterChef moment. Will Christina Tozzi be impressed? So far, she wouldn't, but let's, but now let's see if it actually tastes good. Okay. Oh. Okay. These are my new favorite. Stuffing that doesn't have to be stuffed in the anus of a dead bird. Instead, it can be stuffed in some delicious, nourishing, healthy winter squash, and also some pumpkin muffins that you can make 2 different ways, and even more ways because you don't have to pipe it and fill it full of cream cheese frosting. Instead, you can just top it off with some cream cheese frosting, or you can use the cream cheese frosting as a dip. Whatever you want to do. Again, if you want all of these recipes and measurements for each individual recipe that I made today, then check the description box below. Everything will be perfectly and easily broken down for you, because it definitely is hard to follow when it comes to these videos. And you can make these recipes for whatever holidays that you celebrate, or just for fall, winter time. They are so good. I'm really pleased with this cream cheese frosting that I made, because I was kind of scared. I have not made cream cheese frosting since going vegan, and it was a success. And also, let me know in the comments what you think about celebrating a holiday that's all about being, I mean, I know that there's a deeper meaning, history behind it that's really horrid. But let me know what you think about celebrating by giving thanks and being thankful and being grateful, while also eating dead animals and taking their lives and freedom away from them, because I want to hear from you.
When we get turkeys in from factory farm situations, they've never really had a chance to be turkeys, to run outside, to lay in the sun, to eat grass. They come in this case, debeaked often, so this group has clearly been debeaked with the microwave type debeaking. When they do the debeaking process, they used to do, more of the farms used to do hot blades, so we would see them with the cuts much higher, but now we're seeing these clearly exact science tips coming off. A lot of times when we get the turkeys, the tip's still falling off, so we know the method that they're using. Wherever they came from, these guys did not get de-toed, but they definitely were debeaked. And they have a lot of nerve endings in the beak. It's kind of how they feel the whole world. So for them, the debeaking process, no matter how it's done, is very painful. When turkeys come from factory farms, they haven't had the ability to spread their wings. They don't get to lay out in the sun. Even if they are given some outside access, it's so packed. It's packed so tight that they can't run and pop up in the air and be happy like they do here. So we really enjoy showing people really what these turkeys are like when they're allowed to just be themselves and be individuals.
I'm impressed. I'm happy. I kind of succeeded. And I'm a basic American. I was about to say American. I'm a very basic American, so I don't know what that is converted to Celsius, but it'll pop up on the screen because I'm an American.